Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Dark Angel podcast. Today I'm with Max yet
How you
again.
doing?
So if you guys haven't gotten the kind of new format of things, it's me and Max. We're gonna be going over different topics, talking about things in our lives and how we deal with different types of, just aspects of life. Today our topic is grief. So recently, one of my really, really good friends, her father just sadly passed away. So today I'm going to be dedicating that episode, or this episode, to their family. I asked her, and she wants me to tell you guys a few things about her process and how she's gone through everything and what everyday life has been like for her, over the last few weeks or so. Obviously, it's not easy to have lost a father at the age of 19. It's something that's terrible. And, her dad was such an amazing guy. And he's going to be living on through all of us every day. Yeah, it's definitely not something that's easy. And I just want to say I give that family so much credit. They're such strong people, and they're really, really amazing people. So some of the things she told me, her biggest thing is this is something she's still learning about. Obviously it's something that's very, very new. One day you go from obviously having your parent, and then the next day it's just, it's a completely different world. No give backs, no redos. It's tough. Another thing that she wanted me to mention was anger. It's without even realizing, you can be so angry, angry at the world, angry at your family, angry at your friends, and it's something that you don't know why, and it's like you don't want to come off as somebody who's being rude or disrespectful, and I don't think other people are taking it like that. But as the person who is giving off that, you may feel that internally, which is definitely a part of the grieving process. Anger is definitely something that is a part of it. It's why me, and it's legit questions to ask. It's something terrible. It's not something easy to deal with. It's very hard, and I give them credit. The first day after, it was a day or two after her father passed, we went over there, me and my siblings, and something that really amazed me is their outlook on things. They have, so there's one girl my age, her name is Angelina, and her sister Sierra, she's a few years younger, I believe she's 16, and then their mom, just their outlook on things seriously blew my mind. So my friend, for example, she was talking about how it's so easy to kind of just crumble, right? It's so easy to seclude yourself and let this almost get the best of you. And, she said something to me, and it really, really stuck with me. She said, I know for a fact he wouldn't want me to succumb to this, and he knows I'm strong, and he knows he can watch down on me and be proud of me and be happy for me. And, and I said, that's amazing.
That's a really difficult thing to be able to do,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. The day or 2 days after.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Wow.
It blows my mind, and it's something to say about character. It's just, you have such an amazing character to be able to be like, you know what? This obviously isn't an ideal situation, but I'm going to be the best me. I'm not going to let it overcome me, and I'm still going to be able to, do my life, and I'm going to do it for him. And that's kind of what she was saying. She was kind of just saying how she's going to be doing everything, just how she was. But now I need to. I need to do what I said and I promised I was going to do, Another thing she wanted me to talk about was wondering if they physically are okay, right? So, she said to me, she's like, I don't know if my dad's okay, and of course we'll never physically know, right?
Yeah.
But we do know deep down that no, this person is okay now, right? They're in a better place. It's something that obviously it's not easy to sit with, right? It's not something that's just like, hey, like, this is something I want to be thinking about. But it's something that is probably going through your mind constantly, right? I mean, I lost my grandfather, and that's something I think about all the time, right? It's like, are they okay? Are they in that happy place? Are they in that better place? Um Also, another thing is having no motivation at all, but at the same time having motivation to achieve your dreams for that person, right? So Angelina's
That's gotta be.
yeah, it's hard, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, and Angelina, she's such a driven person. Like, you just see it. She's got fire in her eyes. She's like, I really want to be the best I could be. She's a super hard worker, so it's like, you could tell she's going to be super successful, right? And now it's like, it's almost even more fire under her saying, now I'm going to do it for my dad, and she will. I have no doubt in my mind. I've said this since we were in middle school. It's like, you could just tell, there's people like that, and you could just tell, no, they're go-getters, they're going to attack the world. Also, another thing is always wondering what they would say and how their outlook would be on certain situations, right? So now you can't get that feedback from that person. Exactly. So it's definitely tough, and this last week or two, it's tough. It's sad, and it's something to be said for people who have to go through that. It's a grandparent's one thing, right? It's like, obviously it's not easy by any means.
Yeah, I feel like with the difference between grandparents and parents is with grandparents more so you can kind of see it coming. You know they're getting to the end of their life.
Exactly. Yes.
Parents, especially, before you even turn 20, is such a shock.
Yeah.
Even if they were sick or not the healthiest.
Exactly. No, I know. And that's why, like, seriously, this family, is such an amazing example of just strength, like pure strength. It's seriously, it's like, it almost leaves me speechless. It's like, it's so hard to kind of bring it to words because they really are the definition of strength, and it's amazing to see how strong people are. Seriously. It's like, we all love you guys. And I hope you guys are listening to this, and it's seriously, you guys are amazing, and we have nothing but great and kind words to say about you guys. Yes. Yep.
A lot of respect.
Yep. So a little bit about myself. I've only had one major loss in my family. It was my grandfather. I was in 6th grade, and so my grandfather had Parkinson's, but then he was also diagnosed with cancer, so he had a rough go at things. When I was in 6th grade, he was told he only had, I think it was like 6 months to live, maybe a year max. So that was really tough news. Me and my grandfather were super, super close, super, super close.
How'd you feel when you found that out? Like, what exactly was running through you? Broken?
Yeah, I'm not a person who really cries. Like, I don't really, like, let out emotion. I know that's not the best thing. But yeah. I'm not like a crier. I just remember, we're driving home from somewhere, and my mom goes, and me and my brother are sitting in the back. My little sister, I think she was maybe 4 at the time, 4 or 5, something around there. She was little. And my older sister, they're in the 2 captain chairs in the middle row. And me and my brother are in the back. And my mom goes, guys, and I just had this gut feeling. I'm like, oh no, something's wrong with grandfather. I don't know why I thought that, whatever it was just like, I just had this instinct. And my mom goes, grandfather's really sick. He doesn't have a lot of time left, so we're going to try and see him, as much as we can. And we saw my grandparents, like, I mean, we still see my grandmother. She's, thank God, still alive.
Yeah.
But we would see them at least once a week. So we were over there all the time, but, and my mom was like, we should really make an effort to go over there more and, try and see him as much as possible. We don't know how long, we're going to have. So, it was heartbreaking. It was like my best friend, so it's like, we would play card games together. We would do all these things together. We watch movies, whatever it is.
Did it make the time that you spent together after you found out feel different?
At first, yes. Yes, because then it was like, I don't know. I was like, would I have done this if I didn't find this out? Like, it's like questions like that. And then you get all these guilty questions. It's like, it's your grandfather. Of course you would, so it's like, but I started going over there on, Tuesdays and Thursdays, every week. We would play blackjack. My grandfather loved playing card games, so we would play like all types of card games. He taught me a bunch of card games. And we would just spend hours upon hours together. 7, I'd come home from school and I'd go there. And it was amazing. I got to learn so much about him. We got even closer than we were, and it was like, seriously, it was like my best friend, and 6th grade, I was a little bit of a troublemaker. So this is the times, I got detention, once or twice in middle school. And when I got detention, I got all my electronics taken away, so it was like, we would bond over that stuff. He's like, oh, I used to do stuff in middle school too, and all that stuff. So I would go there sometimes 3-4 times a week, we would just hang out, play cards again, whatever, just have a good time. This wound up actually going on for 2.5 years. So all the way throughout.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all the way throughout 8th grade, he lived way past what he was supposed to. And then in the summer of going into 9th grade, he passed away. And it was rough. It was really rough. My family was in Pennsylvania. My mom, my sister, my brother, and my little sister. They were in Pennsylvania. Me and my dad were home. I was supposed to be working with my dad. One of my friends wound up, 2 of my friends actually were sleeping over that night. And so we wake up in the morning and my mom calls me and she's crying. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, what could this be? And I'm like, and no words were being exchanged. She's just crying. She's crying. And I'm home alone. Like, my dad's at work. My friends are sleeping, and it's... So I go and I'm sitting in the laundry room in my house because I didn't want anybody hearing. I didn't think it would be a good phone call. And, she's like, he's gone. And it was heartbreaking. I had nobody, to be upset with, because they're all away. And it's like...
In that moment, you probably felt really alone.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was tough, and it was like, look, like we were expecting it, but he was doing so good, and then it was like this false sense of security. Yeah, it was rough. The wake, the funeral, it was all rough, and something I tell myself is like the same thing, that Angelina says. It's like he's still with us, and I do believe that, I'm a big science guy. I love science. There's something I always say, energy can't be created nor destroyed, right? So there's energy within people and so there's energy within people. It's not going to be destroyed, right? So they're still out there living their life in this beautiful universe of ours. It's not something that can just dissipate. So that's something I like to think about.
Were you able to think like that right away, or did that take time?
It definitely took time. But I did a lot of things for him, and I still do. I even like with this company, like I like to have him incorporated in so many things. I mean, for those of you guys who could see on the camera, that painting is of me and my uncle and my grandfather, me and my uncle are playing chess, and my grandfather is looking over us like he always does. So every aspect of my life, I like to incorporate things with him in, and I truly, truly believe, he is with us every day, and he is helping us, and he is guiding us, and he is watching us. And yeah, that's just something that I ease my, I guess I would say pain with.
I'm sure you still feel it a little bit.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I go out with my grandmother, at least once a week. We'll go out to dinner. I enjoy spending time with her, and it's nice. We'll always reminisce about him. We'll always talk about him. They've been dating since I think he was 19. So
how old was he when he passed?
I think he was 79. I think he would have been 80 in November. Yeah. 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 So, and they've been together for a while, so she has stories of him from when he was, a child, not a child, but, an almost adult, and, they were together all throughout those years. They were married a very, very long time, and it's nice. We always reminisce, and, my grandmother always says, "Oh, you remind me so much of your grandfather," and it's nice to hear that, 'cause he is and was a great man. But yeah, it's definitely tough, and especially from her perspective, being a widow, it's yet again, it's something, when you're older, but still, it's like you went through life with this person, and now
60
yeah,
60 years,
yeah. And now what? And no more. So it's like it's rough. It's definitely rough. And she has some of her own traditions, like she likes to keep, to herself, like, that would have been done between them. Say like on New Year's, she kind of likes when the ball drops being by herself, it's like things like that. She'll be with us at the party, and then she'll go into a separate room, and when the ball drops, and then and then come back out, and it's tough for her. But it's tough for anybody, I can imagine. I'm not sure if you've lost anybody.
I've lost both my grandmothers.
Okay.
One I was very close with growing up.
Okay.
She would drive me to school every day. I'd lived in Arizona at this point.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a 45-minute drive. She'd pick me up at like 6 o'clock. We'd drive to school, get food on the way. And that was one of like my key or core memories growing up.
Yeah.
Going to school with my grandmother. She passed away. She was the first one to pass.
Okay. And how old were you?
On my dad's side, she was, I'd say like mid-80s.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom's mom passed away right before COVID, I believe. The fall right before it. And that one hit a little bit, I wouldn't say harder, but I just don't think I saw it coming as much.
Okay. So what was that like, right? So it's kind of like you're getting blindsided, and it's...
Yeah, I grew up after a certain age pretty far away from my family.
Okay.
So I didn't see them as much as someone would normally see their grandparents. But when I lived there, I saw them 3-4 times a week. I was over at their house every night. We lived around the corner from them.
Okay.
My whole family lived within like 10 minutes of each other.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So we all saw each other a lot,
yeah.
And it was nice. And going back home for the funeral for both of them was very difficult. And my grandfather, to this day, even is still broken up about it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
On phone calls, he'll still get emotional.
Really? Yeah.
It's really hard to see, because I remember when, laughing and joking was all he kind of did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've learned that if you can kind of appreciate what's happened rather than, like, if you can replace sadness with appreciation, you'll normally end up being okay.
I think that's a really good thing to do. I never looked at it like that, and it's, obviously it's very cliche to say, oh, of course it's sad, but think about all the good and think about this and
yeah, and look, it's not easy by any means.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier said than done.
Of course.
But also at the same time, you have a choice. You can sit there and be sad about it, which you're gonna be.
Yeah, of course.
Or you can sit there and you can appreciate what you had, because at the end of the day, nothing you have is lasting forever.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm. So everything's gonna leave at some point.
Yep.
It's just a matter of when. So if you can appreciate what you had or what you have, you'll end up pretty well off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you get through it.
Exactly. So now this next section, I'd like to get into some advice for this. This is for those of you who are grieving now, or who are struggling with the grieving process.
And to be fair, the grieving process doesn't just mean losing a family member.
Not at all. Losing a job.
It can be any type of
loss.
Loss.
An animal, whatever it is. Everything. Any type of loss.
That you had.
Exactly.
Anything.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. So, the first thing and the most important thing is taking care of yourself. Obviously, this is something that's hard to do if all you want to do is, you're kind of forcing yourself to stay in your bed, not eat and not shower, not take care of yourself. That's something, I get it, it's not easy, but that's something that's super, super important. You need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your body. You need to take care of your mental health,
So how would one go about that, though?
Well, first off, for, taking care of your mental health, I like going on walks. I think walks are something that's super, super good for the mind. Any sort of exercise is really good for the mind.
And doing things with people.
Yes.
Like having some type of community in those moments helps and will take you twice as far.
Yes.
Because you don't have to rely on just yourself.
Exactly.
It's hard to in those moments,
Yeah, exactly.
Some emotions are hard to beat on your own.
Yes. Yep, and that's why it is good to sometimes rely on people, and it's have that friend that's going to push you, hey, just jump in the shower, I know it sucks, just jump in the shower, and comb your hair and, it's stuff like that,
Just do the little things that
exactly.
you normally do.
Exactly. Another thing is acknowledging the pain, right? You don't want to just push it off. You don't want to just say, no, it's not there. It's something that you have to face, right? And kind of get down and dirty with. Maybe not right away, 'cause it's something you don't want to let fester. And then if it does, it can cause more problems in the long run,
Yeah, and about that, pushing emotions or feelings down is never a good thing.
Yeah.
And I can understand in a moment it might not be appropriate,
Yeah.
and to just put it off until later.
Exactly.
But part of taking care of yourself is acknowledging how you feel and facing it. You don't have to change it. You just have to accept that that's how you feel.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
that it's going to change it.
Exactly.
At some point in the future.
Yeah.
It may not be now, might not be a year from now.
Yeah.
But eventually.
Exactly. It's just, these things are super important, especially when you're at a low place, 'cause this can just trigger so many different things, in your life, like positively or negatively, and hopefully it's not negatively. But in some cases it is, you can go down a dark depression. You could go down, these dark holes, and it's tough to pull yourself out of them, especially the further down you go, it's tough to pull out.
Yeah. And just don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, of course, especially in this.
Go to your family and friends. Find someone who will help you, because there is someone. It could be a complete stranger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Therapist, whatever it is, it's something that's really, really important. It's really, really important,
And go be active. Go outside. Get some sun on your skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know eating may be difficult, but, you have to do the basic things still.
You
as
have
much
to.
as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
But other than that, do whatever feels right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, another question is, what do you do next, right? So, it's not something you're just going to move on from, right? It's not like, oh, they're gone, I'm good now. It's not something you just move on from, so it's what next? You know, it's a big question. And I think, you know, what next is incorporate them in your lives as much as you can. You know, do things for them, even if it's a shower. I'm going to go take a shower for this. You know, I'm going to get out of bed for you. You know, and it's something to motivate you, it's something to help you, and it's, you know, you're doing something for them. You know, and it's something that you can incorporate in your life in so many different aspects. You know, I really do think that what next question is big. You know, what would you say you would do next? You know, after you got through this, acknowledging your pain. You know, you kind of take care of yourself.
I think that at least what's worked for me is I kind of return to myself. I'll take alone time, you know, and I'll just go back to doing the things that I enjoy, you know, whatever it may be in that moment in time. Go to the gym, go to the beach, whatever, you know. I just go do something I enjoy, and normally that brings you back to some kind of normalcy. It'll help.
Yeah.
With those negative emotions, you know.
Mhm.
And a lot of times just taking your mind off of it or going to bed early is what I've realized has helped a lot.
Okay.
When I would stay up late, especially in those moments where things were difficult, I would I'd get into a very dark place sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
and then you wake up in the morning and you feel a million times better.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I've started going to bed.
Okay.
Once I've started getting into my head.
Which is super important. Yeah. You know, sleep's obviously very important. But yeah, you know, this topic of grief, it's something that's super heavy, you know, and I feel like it's confusing, you know, it's treacherous waters to be walking in. You know, it's something that if you haven't experienced, you know, it's not like you're told, oh, you need to cry, you know, you need to do this. You know, it's like
you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to respond the normal way.
Yeah.
You might not feel sad. You might not cry.
Yes,
exactly. You might not be angry. You might be perfectly fine, and that's okay too.
Exactly. Everybody grieves differently, you know, and that's another thing we have to understand. You know, you can't get mad at people for grieving a certain way. You know, it's something that we all, I guess, take in differently, you know, and it's something we all put out differently. Some people have a hard time showing their emotions, you know, some people can't show their emotions, and some people show all their emotions, you know, and it's something different, and it's something we all have to, I guess, get used to. You know, it's something we can't judge others for, or, you know, crap on them for, you know, it's just something we all, I guess, gotta deal with and look at differently, you know. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm good.
You're
I
good.
feel like we've said
said
a good amount.
You know, and before we close out, I just really want to say we love you guys, the Richmonds. You guys are seriously amazing people. I look up to you, and I bet so many other people do. You guys are the definition of strong. You know, you guys are seriously amazing people. We love you guys, and yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in again. Tune in next time.